Hello, I'm Marian Giannopoulos, Superintendent of Lake Orion Community Schools, and I welcome you to the February edition of Inside the Dragons. We have 4 very exciting segments for you to view today. The first one is one that we have annually that really kind of heralds the entire school district and what we're all about, and that is celebrating the Teachers of the Year. So you'll have the opportunity to view 3 of our teachers, 1 elementary, a middle, and a high school teacher, and find out a little bit more about them. The second segment is a conference that was held by some of our students. It was called Spreading the Mental Wealth Conference. We are very proud of our students at the high school. This is a group of students, the Students Offering Support, or SOS, you may have heard about them, where they invited other students from school districts in the county to join them to learn more about the kinds of things that they can do in their schools to really replicate what we're doing here in Lake Orion to spread the mental wealth. The third segment is the first one that we have had in this district, and it was the celebration of Martin Luther King Day. And we had a number of wonderful activities that you'll see in that particular segment. And then finally, we again have so many wonderful things going on in the district that our high school students really kind of take the leadership role in. And that last segment will share with you about Sell Out for Soldiers. And that is where students at the high school gave up their phones for the day. So I don't want to give it all away because you'll see it in each one of these segments. Thank you.
As the school year reaches the halfway point, Lake Orion Community Schools recognizes the unsung heroes in our midst, the teachers. Each school asks for nominations from its parents, students, and other staff members before that school's Teacher of the Year is selected. Then the school's selections are submitted to the district administration, where one individual is chosen for each level. This year's elementary selection at Stadium Drive Elementary is kindergarten teacher Erin Kawamoto, a 16-year veteran in the building.
She does enjoy liquids, coffee, Fireball. Does not live in Lake Orion. Loves reality TV. She has children. It could be. She's had the same teaching position for many years. Includes that. Likes to travel. She's a big fan of pink, not the color, but the artist. Likes to ski. And has a couple, has siblings that live on either side of the country. There.
Kawamoto's selection thrilled her colleagues and Murray, her principal.
You know, first and foremost, her love for kids. You know, when we visit her classroom, it's clear that she cares deeply for her students, which is the key, especially at the kindergarten level where kids are just starting out in school, for them to build a strong foundation, knowing that teachers within this building, within Lake Orion, love and care for them and want them to do their best. She's also a consummate colleague, mentoring one of our other kindergarten teachers, and you know, is full of content knowledge and is a master teacher.
I have been in this building for, I believe, 16 years. They kind of blur together. And this is my home away from home. This is my definite family. I couldn't have done this without my kindergarten team. We're a very strong team, and I love them.
At the middle school level, Walden's Nick Kosia fit the bill perfectly, wearing many hats from teacher to coach to supporting colleague and leader. The 7th grade math teacher is thriving.
So with no further ado, congratulations to Nick Kosia. Teacher of the Year. Not only has Nick served as a coach in our district, department chair, several committees, a dunk tank volunteer, never one to be afraid to look the fool at assemblies or at track events. Think chimp costume. But he still has time to connect, engage, and build relationships with students. Nick Kosia is not just a teacher, he is a teacher.
Kosia has a special place in the Lake Orion Community Schools, as he has deep connections, having been a student at Walden when he was younger.
You know, I don't know if I necessarily ever really have time to think about that kind of stuff. You know, you spend so much time thinking about what goes on in your classroom. No, I'm typically shocked when I get anything like that, and it definitely makes, I don't know, it makes the job come full circle. Yeah, it's great to hear the really positive things, you know, because we don't really take time to recognize what each and every one of these folks are doing, but they're all doing really great things.
At the high school, Dave Whitaker was overwhelmed by the moment. After decades of teaching physical education and years guiding the department, Whitaker has impacted students in many classes. He has taught some of his current colleagues and taken on the responsibility of establishing an adaptive physical education program where special needs students enjoy their own physical education.
He has been doing good work down with the phys ed department for years and years, and we couldn't be more proud to acknowledge his efforts. Kyle alluded to, in some of the questions, his work with some of our special needs students, and I've been down there, and I can tell you they have an out-and-out love for Mr. Whitaker, and it is really special what happens in his class with those students, and we couldn't be more proud to acknowledge him as 2019 Teacher of the Year.
He's helped me. I've learned so much from him in such a small amount of time, and I know that other people in our department also can attest to that. And then how he treats these people to his left is very admirable.
He goes out of his way to see his students, showing that he genuinely cares about them. Recently, he popped in at Pine Tree Center with donuts to check in on his past students who are now in post-secondary. They were thrilled to see him. David shared with us, Paris, some years back now, that teaching special needs students has made him a better teacher, father, husband, and person. Thank you for always being selfless and positive role model for our students.
Completely surprised. Are you kidding? The fact that my family was able to hide this from me, I was hoping I wasn't the last one standing, because I kept going, please say something so I can sit down. And I'm humbled, truly, just to be nominated, let alone win it. But you know, like I said, there's so many deserving people. Everybody in this room is really Teacher of the Year.
For much of the past decade, Lake Orion High School has stood out as a leader in addressing student mental health. From the Real Talk program to the Supporting Other Students group, there is always an effort to embrace the often overlooked concerns among teens. With so much experience in the area, the SOS group wanted to share their knowledge, so they planned a conference for early February. On February 8th, the SOS group produced the Spread the Mental Wealth conference at the Cirque Building, with students and staff from Clarkston, Troy, Bloomfield Hills, and Ferndale attending.
It was to break away the stigmas of mental health. Mental health is usually not talked about, and it is a major issue that between teenagers of our generation and our year, and it's happening at Lake Orion High School. It's happening everywhere. So anything that we can do to help is really great. Any effort we can do, that's what we're striving for.
The program opened with a guest speaker, former LOHS student Carly Redman, who now attends Grand Valley State University and has experienced deep mental health challenges in her own life.
So I was just here to be a keynote speaker, kind of get everything rolling, help these kids kind of see that from my personal experience that participating in groups or just learning about mental health in youth can have an amazing impact on anyone in their community. It is definitely a growing issue, especially between, I believe, I can't remember exactly the age range, but for young adults and teenagers and adolescents, just even in the college community, a lot of kids still don't want to talk about their mental health, and they have a really hard time bringing it up with adults or just peers, things like that. We have had a couple suicides, I believe, since I've been at GVSU, and it's really unfortunate because just knowing that if they had someone to talk to that they were comfortable with talking to, that they might be around today. So it's definitely a problem across our nation with young adults and adolescents.
The small group activities allowed the participants to share their own thoughts while learning strategies and the plans to take back to their schools. The discussions were honest, with all students offering a voice and talking through the large impact a small comment can have. Bringing in staff and students from other Oakland County school districts allowed the critical messages to spread.
Well, mental health is such an important issue for all schools in our area, and it's no different in our building, and that's been an initiative that we at the district and building level have wanted to continue to make sure that we support students in any way we can, and if we're going to get good results, we have to support students and their mental health, and so we were honored to be invited here today. Oh yeah, our students have been engaged. They've loved the workshops. Amy Redmond and the rest of the staff here have done an outstanding job crafting the workshops. It's all pertinent information, and we're looking forward to take many of these things back to our building and implementing.
The conference was guided by SOS advisor Amy Redmond and the students, and also featured Oakview Middle School teacher Stephanie Harris, talking to administrators about mindfulness. The impact may never be obvious, but that's the point, reaching the students to bring them into a place of support.
We have 8, we call them like executive board students that really were the planners of today and have been working on this conference since the fall. And then we have, for this day, we have roughly about 25 other students who are here participating as participants, but also as leaders, and helping us run and also learn new ideas to take back to for our program. So really excited about that. Really excited about the students, that students are interested in this topic. They want to talk about it and they want help with it. We all have personal issues we might be struggling with, and curriculum is important, absolutely. This is another piece to really building a full self, a whole self, mental health, thinking, mindfulness, how we take care of ourselves. So they're vital for all of us, adults and teens.
In late January, Lake Orion Community Schools and the high school's Cultural Outreach Club held the district's first Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration. With the theme of Service to Others, the evening event featured MLK-themed art from each school, and the program included representatives from across the district in different artistic pursuits.
But we are so excited that you're here to celebrate the spirit of Dr. King in our first ever Lake Orion Community Schools night to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And we're thinking about what are you doing for others. So tonight we're going to spend some time just reflecting and thinking, and then looking forward to what we can do as a community and as a school district to honor the legacy of such a great man who is great enough that we still today, we say his name often and we quote him often, and we actually spend an entire day devoted to the spirit of Dr. King.
As Martin Luther King once said, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Dr. King embodied this line by bringing publicity to major civil rights activities and efforts, emphasizing and encouraging the importance of nonviolent protest and resistance, and providing leadership to the African American civil rights movement.
The event included singing performances from Stadium Drive Elementary, the Oakview Middle School Choir, and Oakview teacher Carl Zulkowski. Trying to capture Dr. King's spirit in one evening was a challenge, but the large community which attended, a few hundred residents, were engaged with the performance all night. Students and staff shared how King's message resonated with them.
We are all different, but some of us are extra special different. We want to make friends and be accepted like you. Just sometimes our brain needs more time to see the view. Please don't be afraid to say hi. We really want friends just like you. Remember to be patient and understanding, and before you know it, we will be best friends. Always remember we may not do things like you, but we want to be welcomed from your view. All we really want is a spot to feel real.
Stop and think, what can I do to help someone out like me and you? Maybe a smile to show that you care, or maybe say thank you when somebody shares. One may think that one little word does nothing to make someone happy, but just one little smile, one little word can inspire someone greatly.
In today's world of booming technology and smartphones, I have found that we would rather be alone together, and I find that quite sad. As I scroll through my Instagram feed, I see people celebrating themselves, acknowledging their own victories, and updating the world on their every move. It becomes a lifestyle, one that takes up time, energy, and self-esteem. A few months back, I began following 3 accounts on Instagram: a clothing brand with the username Change, Rupi Kaur, an author, and a new friend of mine named Ada. The one thing all 3 accounts have in common is the content they post. These accounts post uplifting messages, share positive stories, and most importantly, celebrate others. I feel it is extremely important to celebrate and help others in every way. In the process of helping others, both parties reap the reward. What is created is a cycle of mindfulness, optimism, and a willingness to change for the better that can be extremely contagious. On this day, we celebrate a great man, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and what he did for others, especially his selfless contributions to the African American community to help secure some, because we didn't get all, freedoms that should be a human right. I'm aware that Instagram was non-existent during Dr. King's time, but I know in my heart that if he were alive today, he would use a social media platform to help others and be an activist on a broader stage. Over the years, social media has allowed people to connect with a wider audience and spread their messages even farther. I've now made it my mission to be a visionary and modify the content I post to be more positive and celebrate others in the process to create a kinder world.
But to educate our children the way we want to educate this community, we're going to make sure that it is a graduation requirement that our students go out and serve others. So to this day, each one of our graduates, as they walk across the stage at DTE and shake my hand and receive a diploma, I'm very proud not only of their accomplishments in the classroom, but beyond, the service that they give to our community. It doesn't go maybe a day or two that I don't receive a phone call from somebody in the community that is reaching out for assistance. And they know that at Lake Orion High School, we go above and beyond. Our students and our staff have the vision that it is truly important, as Dr. King's vision, that we serve others, and that it becomes really something that not only are we proud of each and every day, but it builds upon the education of our children.
A major goal of the evening was to make the event reach beyond the school district and into the community, with speeches about Dr. King from area clergy and Orion officials. The spirit was strong.
I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. And please think about as I share these words with you. Since becoming police chief in 2001, it has been my mission and my passion to have a police department that exemplifies the vision that all people be treated with respect and dignity, and that we continually try to find ways to strengthen our common bonds and build upon all that is good and decent.
Serving the community, sometimes we forget that everyone is unique. Everybody is different than everybody else. But we also are of a common unity.
With each school participating, the event also highlighted each school's moments of service in recent months. What's a day like for students at Lake Orion High School without cell phones? It's part of a yearly ritual as the Sellout for Soldiers event resonates throughout the student body. For one day each school year, the LOHS students file into school and hand over their cell phones. Money is donated to charity for each phone surrendered. Now in its 5th year, the event continues to draw significant attention, and the charity, Cell Phones for Soldiers, takes the proceeds to allow deployed soldiers to buy minutes to call home to loved ones. For the first time, the charity's co-founder got to see it in person.
Yeah, so Cell Phones for Soldiers started out as just an idea of my sister and I's to support a soldier that was from Massachusetts with a large cell phone bill. We ended up paying off his cell phone bill and decided that we would start a program to support other military members that were struggling to call home at an affordable rate. So we created Cell Phones for Soldiers. We collect used cell phones and recycle them, and with the proceeds we purchase prepaid calling cards and send them to active duty military members. We also accept monetary donations from groups like this that raise money for the charity, so it's an amazing way to support the military. I thought it was amazing. It's a very creative way to raise awareness. There's a lot of things that are going on today. It's not just supporting the charity. It's also a great social experiment for these kids that can get away from their phones for a day, and it really just meshes well with the charity. So to see it all come together is really, really cool.
This year's event was the most successful to date, collecting 1,938 student cell phones, returned at the end of the school day, and raising $8,000 along with the sponsorships. The total for the 5 years is over $20,000.
So today is always super hype every year, and I'm really excited for this year. It's our 5th year doing it, so today students will come in and turn their phones, and everyone's really excited. It's for such a good cause. All the money will go to Cell Phones for Soldiers, and everyone here has such great pride in this day and loves what we do. The goal of this event is trying to get as many people to sell out as possible. So we want to get close to 2,000. Usually we get around 1,800, so we want 90% plus participation today. So we're super excited. Yeah, with nobody having their phones, everyone's kind of interacting with each other, and it's great to see people actually talking, which that sometimes happens, but especially in classes after everyone does their work and everything, nobody's on their phone, they're all talking and actually being productive today. So
some of the students were hesitant initially when they arrived at school, but they came to understand the importance of the gesture and that they can live without their phone.
Well, I thought it was kind of interesting, kind of okay, you can give up your phone. I mean, you're only donating $1 and you don't have to do anything except for not going to phone for all day.
Yeah, it's just for one day, that's not bad.
It's a really unique experience for all of us to turn in our phones for a day and just communicate with our other peers, and it helps the soldiers.
Yeah, for some students it's really not that hard, but for others their faces are glued to the phone. So sometimes it might be a little difficult for them, but it's better to be out there with other peers and get to talk to them and have conversations with them rather than just being on your phone ignoring them.
This great tradition continues to expand as one of the unique events for any school in the nation. Yet another example of the Dragons setting a trend and giving back to others.
Thank you for joining us, and I look forward to the March Inside the Dragons edition.
Inside the Dragons is produced by the Lake Orion Community Schools in partnership with Orion Neighborhood Television. For up-to-date news and information about the Lake Orion Schools, visit our website at lakeorionschools.org and watch us on Comcast Educational Access Channel 22 and AT&T UVerse Channel 99.